Aaron here. Evening, everybody. When you pop in live, come and hang out with us. I have great moderators. We're going to see who pops in first. Join us in the comments. Let us know where you're from. We love everybody. And we're not even joking when we say that. When you pop into my live and the conversation really starts rolling, you're going to really notice how different everybody is, but how much we actually love each other, right? How much we love on each other, take care of each other, hold each other up. Hi, Owen. Owen made it in first today. I haven't stopped yet. I got a major sweat going on, Owen. It was house cleaning day. Yeah, I wasn't too sure. I was getting a bug bite, right? And I didn't know whether or not, like maybe it was a bed bug or something. It must have been a mosquito, because I've gone through my apartment all day long and not a spider, nothing, absolutely zero. So I'm pretty confident that my apartment is good. I must have picked up a mosquito or something along the line, but house is clean. All the laundry's done. These are my days off the next couple of days, right? So I wanted to try and get as much as I can today done. And plus I have my lives, right? On Sunday nights, I go live if you don't know me, hi, I'm Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside. And today on Sunday nights, we explore a little bit of the inside, right? And we just get together and we just chit chat and we find out how everybody's doing. Oh, yeah. So everybody's doing a little bit of housework today, eh? Yeah. I did 3 loads of laundry. Plus I did my little carpets, right? Because my cat lays on them and stuff. And I just wanted to make sure that I had gone through this place and I inspected, I swept, I washed the floors corner to corner, took the garbage out, washed. I just finished washing my windowsills. The only thing I need to do now is a little bit of dusting, and yeah, maybe a little bit of decorating in my kitchen. I have a little bit of idea. I want to change my kitchen around a little bit, and I have some old bottles, and I thought, oh, maybe I'll do the kitchen in a country chic, like I do a Marilyn Monroe kind of chic. Hey, I use the white accents and everything. Oh, this is my pajamas. That's how I'll be. I'm just all sorted out. Let me just throw them out on my bed. My cat will probably go and sleep on them and stuff. But yeah, so I've had a productive day today. And at the same time, I'm taking in lessons, right? I'm doing some Mind House. I just finished watching Evans. I'm only on day number 6. I'm behind by like 4 days, right? 4 days worth of his videos. He's doing a billionaire mindset, and he's doing 30 days of motivation and inspiration and mindset and mindfulness. And this is where I get a lot of that repetitiveness, right? That I need, just to keep reminding me, to stay on the right track, not to get sidetracked. And because I have goals, and I've got to keep my eye, because it's easy to get distracted, right? When you have big dreams like that, right? And yeah, just like I got distracted by these birds coming by my window. I got something really neat going on in front of my apartment. I had this great, big, huge elm tree across the street, right? And I've been watching it, and I'm also directly across our Manitoba Legislative Building, and it's a beautiful architectural building, and it's quite spectacular, and it's directly in front of my face here while I'm working. I just really, really enjoy it. But during winter, I'm thinking, oh, that big elm tree, spring's gonna come and those leaves are gonna fill up that tree, and I won't be able to see my beautiful legislative building. That's going to be disappointing. It'll be nice to see some trees and see the squirrels and the birds enjoy the trees. But, I'm really going to miss that architecture I really love the architecture, right? And yeah, the tree came into bloom. Sure enough, the leaves filled it right up. And it's really quite strange because right where the legislative building is a big space, a big space, like a big donut. And I clearly see the legislative building. I barely lost any sight of this building. It's like, and it makes me kind of, oh, a little miracle for Cindy, right? Because, it was a little bit of a disappointment, right? That I was going to lose sight of this beautiful building here. And they're also actually restoring one of our main churches here in our neighborhood, and not just in our neighborhood, but this whole city. It's been an icon for decades and decades, and they've done a lot of work with the homeless. They actually even opened up their doors at night so that the homeless could come in, with their sleeping bags or whatever, just sleep on the floor in the church and stuff. They've done a lot of work, right? And if you've been with me for any length of time, I love Manitoba history, and I'm a great supporter of Heritage Winnipeg, a great supporter of Heritage Winnipeg. And they tried really hard, to get this church to join one of the protective buildings, our historical buildings. They tried really, really hard to do that. But the church said no. They really, really fought against it, only because when you become part of a protective building here in Manitoba, it becomes very restrictive when it comes to doing renovations and upgrades on these buildings. You have to, right, follow code and protect the heritage of the buildings. And the church didn't want to do that, didn't want anybody having a say in their church at all, in respects to how it was going to be taken care of. And I've seen, I get disappointed because Heritage Winnipeg, they work really, really hard to keep these old buildings. And some of them quite often are vacant, right? But they keep those upgrades going, and they keep them clean and repaired and maintained. And, they keep their eye open for these very old buildings that have so much history and so much story wrapped into them, right? That they want to protect them and everything. But this church was adamant that they wanted no part of Heritage Winnipeg. I'm not judging on this situation because I can clearly see the good and bad. I can see the good intent of Heritage Winnipeg and wanting to protect this building, to put policies and restrictions in place. And it wasn't really restrictions, even though, being part of this program would entail having a few instructions. The church held their ground, and they didn't let Heritage Winnipeg or any of the other government agencies or organizations have a say in their renovations of this really old, important church here in the city and in my neighborhood. And they just put the steeple under a cage, layered. I guess they're going to do it in stages, and it's a very high steeple on this church. And they got the construction ladders all set up. It's pretty magnificent. But I've been walking by this church almost every day, right? Walking by this church almost every day. It's in line to the bus stop and to the grocery store and to the drugstore and stuff. So I walk by it quite often. And I do a little cut through the buildings and stuff. So I walk by it almost at least 2 or 3 times a week, right? Probably more than that, because, I probably walk through 3 or 4 times a week, but that doesn't matter. But they've been doing a really, really good job, I must say. They just put in the wheelchair ramps, for people who are handicapped. And they did it the way they wanted it. They did it professionally. They got a lot of sponsors, a lot of contributors in funds and in sponsorship to help with these renovations. A lot of big construction companies are donating materials and their time in doing the work. So it's become a community project, something that businesses can actually show their work and take pride in, because it is a big project. It's an important church, again, like I said. And if they do a good job and they stayed steadfast in their ideas, it will be interesting to see how the building what do you call that? Is upholded over the course of the decades coming up, compared to some of the other buildings under the care of Heritage Winnipeg or Manitoba Historical Society or whatever architectural agencies have their fingers right in the pie and deciding, which buildings get repaired and maintenance and which ones don't, and to the extent of them. But they're doing a lot of work right now on this church. It's going to be absolutely magnificent, and I would be really interested in maybe going to a service. And I'm not a Christian myself, right? But it's a beautiful, it's a beautiful church, and it needs to be celebrated because they are doing a lot of work. And I don't think they are housing the homeless right now because it's a danger zone right now. A lot of construction and stuff going on. But it'll be interesting also to see what kind of services they'll provide afterwards. I know they do a lot of leasing to, dancing companies and stuff, lease the space in the church and stuff. It's a fairly large church that can uphold different community projects, right? And being right in the heart of the village, it's again going to be an interesting. I want to get some nice photos and post them. It's going to be really interesting, and like I said, they've been doing a very, very good job. From my eyesight, I'm not an engineer or anything. They could be, doing not a good job, but I expect that they're doing a beautiful job from the work that I can see so far, especially the love and detail. When they did that wheelchair access ramp, it's a pretty big one too, right? Yeah, it's got some stuff going on. How's everybody doing tonight? Okay, let me just read some comments. You guys are at it already in the yapping without me. Let's see who's here. Owen's here. Hi, Owen. And Andrew's here. Owen was actually first in here. I said hi to him already, but it's nice to see Andrew's here tonight. Awesome. How's everybody doing? How's everybody's week been going? I've had a very strange week. A little bit of mixed bag of good and bad, and it is what it is, right? I don't grumble through it. It just is what it is, and a lot of good has come in this week too. Especially everybody. Let me show you this. This is my very first laptop. I've never had a laptop before. Came into the store. One of the guys I work with inspected it for me, hooked it up to the Wi-Fi. It works pretty good. It's like a 2006. So it's not a brand new one, but it's a really, really good quality one. It's got tons of RAM. It's going to be for my editing my videos. See, I'm getting ready, guys. And on top of that, I have my old phone, which had the most amazing camera on it, a camera that's comparable to any camera on the market right now. So now I have an extra good camera, so I could actually take YouTube videos and start editing them. Get a program installed on this, maybe a free program installed on my laptop here. It's kind of heavy, so I know it's not top of the line, but I've never had a laptop before, and I'm pretty excited for it. It was only $40. I really couldn't afford it, but where will I get a $600 laptop or a nice laptop like that? For that amount of money. I got the cords and everything. I haven't had any time to play with it and see if I can figure out how to get it up and running on my own. It might need a little bit of formatting, but I think once I get my accounts into Google and stuff, link up with that I think that Google will just update everything for me anyway. But yeah, this is going to be fun. I'm going to reformat it, I think. I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to do it myself or if I'm going to give it to my nephew or somebody I know to do this for me. But yeah, so there's some good news for Cindy, especially, if I could go to the coffee shops and stuff and do some work and really feel, because I think if I came out of my household, and this is a discussion, this is a really important one, and I think I need to talk about this on my Instagram, because I I really am passionate about my mindset and my mindfulness work that I do on Instagram. But I was just thinking, how people are going to be working from home quite a bit now. A large part of the population will be taking their work home. And, I notice too, when I sit here and I work, it's so easy in our comforts, right? I have a morning routine set in place, where the routine involves, how I wake up in the morning, the content that I take in, the kind of coffee that I make for myself, the clothes I choose to wear for the day, the shower, doing my hair, taking in a lesson, and then doing my live before I head off to work. Like, that's a lot. And I do that every single morning. So I have a morning routine set in place. It's enjoyable, but it can get a little hectic when it gets time to getting close to work and I'm working my live shows and stuff. But I'm thinking, as people are starting to work at home and stuff, in the morning, I don't have time for too much for eating and stuff. But when I come home and I relax and I start taking my lesson, I'm unwinding and stuff, and I get into the food and I start getting into my work, it made me think that, when people are going to start working at home, right? You're going to be comfortable. You're going to want to sit in your pajamas. You might be one of those guys that wears a dress shirt right to the waist, right? And then a pair of pajama pants, right? Because nobody can see you from the waist down. And just to show you that I am wearing pants. I'm not wearing my pajama pants. I don't do that. I have, like I said, I have a morning routine that I do every day. And part of that is getting ready. Like today, it wasn't going to be a shower day for me. It was tie your hair up and throw something clean on. But other than that, it was just housework today, getting this project. I was determined. And you know what? I think it might even be this plant that I have here, the mealy mites, that kind of hoover. I can see they're biting little holes into my leaves here on my plant. So I know that I have mealy mites or something, right? So I think that's what's biting me on my arm, because I got a pretty big couple of bites here, right? And I wanted to check my house only because my sister got me paranoid. I don't mind bugs. I don't mind spiders. I don't mind any kind of, what kind of creature wouldn't I like? Made me kind of nervous. Remember when I went up to Narcissus, to the snake pits up in Narcissus, Manitoba? I've gone a couple of times. But, I wasn't fond of the snakes, right? I had nothing against them, but I would prefer not them to be around. I was walking the trails and stuff, and you hear them hissing, and then if you get too close to them and they hiss and you're not expecting it, it's kind of scary, right? It is kind of scary. So probably snakes I'm not a big fan of. But, I don't dislike them. I find them quite fascinating if they're at a distance and I can watch them from a distance, right? But yeah, snakes themselves, I'm not a big fan of. Probably sharks too. Right? Jaws made me afraid of the water. I watched that movie Jaws. What was it, 1977? I never stepped in the water ever again, into the ocean, right? Into the pools I would, to the salt pools that came in from the ocean, only because I knew the sharks weren't big enough to get in through the waterway that led into the pool. But I never went into the ocean after that. And I was an avid swimmer. I loved the ocean, and I was never concerned with the things in the seaweed and the coral and the rocks. I never worried myself about any of that stuff, right? Fishes brushing up against me. But, I saw that movie Jaws, and again, I used to swim all the way out to the barges, right? I was a very, very good swimmer. I never tire out. And if I tired out, I would just roll over. I was a big kid too, right? So I just roll over on my back and just float and ride the waves, right? But, I used to go right out to the barges, and quite often people would stop by in their speedboats and stuff and pick me up and take me back to shore. That was always fun to get a little ride in the boat and stuff. And maybe that was part of the reason why I would swim all the way out there, right? But yeah, I got a great, like my cup, everybody. Can you read it? Can you read it there? I don't know if it has a mirror image on YouTube. It says, live well, laugh often, love much. It's my new cup. I only like the big cups. Isn't it a big cup? It's a big, big cup. Let me have a sip here. Let me know what you're drinking, what you fixed yourself to drink for the live show. I know lots of you guys, we're for an hour and a half. I always make sure that I have a cup of coffee, a fresh cup of coffee when I go live on Sunday nights, because you guys know how thirsty I get. And after talking for an hour and a half, my throat gets dry, and yeah, it's kind of neat. Oh, I was also, oopsie. I thought I almost turned that off there for a second. I was just watching a program on TV, or on YouTube, sorry. Did you know that the Explorer that they sent off into space in the 1970s is still running and still sending information back to Earth? I had no idea. They said it was supposed to die in 1982, and here it is, 2021. And yeah, it's 75%. They say it's 75% still running. They said they showed that there was actually a website where you could actually keep track of the information that it's bringing in, how fast it's going, what parts of the Explorer are still working. And when I looked, it looked like it had gone like 2 million miles or something like that. 22 million miles it had already traveled. I thought that was really, really interesting. Really interesting. I thought those kind of things just kind of like died and then fall back to Earth. But I guess that's just the satellites, right? Things that actually head off into space. I guess they just become space junk, right? But yeah, the reason that I was watching that is because they actually picked up some sounds, and they said it was like gases, like the explosion in the sun and stuff. When these big explosions happen on sun, that they make some kind of gas noise, right? So I was just listening to the noise that it was making. Let me look at these comments. Let's see what everybody's up to. You were busy today. Hey, Angry Birds fan. Well, I'm glad you made it in. You haven't missed a live in weeks there, Angry Bird. So yeah, and you're just as big as Yapper as anybody there. And I see Andrew tries to keep up with you, right? And he keeps up pretty good. He figured out what you were talking about and stuff. So I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, I never thought of the religious aspect of the church, right? Because heritage buildings, yeah, these are the skyscrapers and the Masonic temples and different things in the community. Yeah, being a church and stuff. I never thought of the religious aspect, Andrew. Yeah, that's a good point that you make there. Andrew was saying, I can see the church members are not wanting an outside organization getting control over what they do. Yeah, I never took that into consideration, the religious part of that, right? Yeah, because I guess they feel like they're being led by God and stuff. And so far, so good. I mean, yeah, they're doing some amazing, amazing work up there. And, if they can do these upgrades, which is a lot of upgrades compared to some of the buildings in the city, can you imagine, being able to have a building that might last, as long as the Coliseum? I don't think it probably would, but mind you, we have a lot of stone skyscrapers here in Manitoba, right? A lot of sandstone going on, a lot of granite used in our buildings here. They're pretty spectacular. They're like Chicago, the architecture. You should actually, if you like architecture, you should Google the Exchange District in Winnipeg. If you Google the Exchange District, because used to be the grain exchange used to be down there and used to control the grain market here in the prairies, right? But you'll see some of these beautiful, beautiful buildings, and these were actually designed by Chicago architectural students. They ended up being very famous architectures, and they actually designed these buildings here. They actually used Winnipeg as a training ground before they started on their skyscrapers there in Chicago. So if you see the similar kind of style, we have a lot of movie theaters and production companies and studios that actually rent the neighborhoods down in the Exchange District, but just because you can easily, throw a couple of old cars on the street and you can put yourself back, or a horse and buggy, and you can put yourself back anywhere for the past 150 years easily, right? Because again, Heritage Winnipeg has protected a lot of those buildings too. And yeah, a lot of those buildings look exactly the same, including the ghost signs, right? If you don't know what ghost signs are advertising. Like in 100 years ago, they didn't have digital age. They didn't have, commercials and news. Well, they had newspapers, but they weren't covering a lot of people. Lots of people were in the rural areas, farmers and stuff, and who would just come into the city and have to know where to get their dry goods and stuff. So these companies would paint their advertising, and they were called wall dogs. The guys who used to paint this advertising on the side of the walls were called wall dogs. And actually, Norman Rockwell was actually a wall dog, right? And they used to do aerial tricks and stuff for the pedestrians that would walk along the streets. And if they sold the building or something and a new company would take over, then they would paint a new mural, right? But Heritage Winnipeg, they saved all those buildings, and all those murals from 120, 130 years ago are still on the walls. Beautiful, beautiful. I've gone and filmed down there a few times. I'm not sure if I've posted anything on my YouTube for the Heritage. I should go down there. I got to figure out, I got to make some time. But I talked to my boss. I told my boss, if we can get Cindy down to 4 days a week, I could manage my bills, right? I could manage my bills, and I would have one full day free, right? That I would devote entirely to YouTube. Nothing else. It belongs to YouTube, right? And that way, whether it's working on learning to edit movies properly, going off and getting some explores done, I'm going to have to dip into my funds that I was using for buying a car, because, yeah, we're not going to make it with Cindy having to take a week off from work. This month is going to be tight, but it is what it is. We adapt, we conquer, we move on. And I've got a couple of things that I want to sell. And even my earthenware table. I was talking to my sister. She came down last night. She was trying to give me some tips and stuff, because I don't want to have an issue in my apartment. I live in a building that does have problems, and I'm being very careful, right? My sister won't come down here and visit me if she thinks that there might be a problem down here. So I've been working really, really hard to make sure that this place stays clean and I don't have issues. But again, right? Look at that bug bite, right? And it bugs me to death not being able to catch it or find any, nothing. I never found any kind of bug at all. And I pulled everything from the walls, and I swept, and I got all the cat hair, everything. The only thing I can think of is maybe something's laying on the cat, living on the cat, and coming at me when I'm going to give her hugs and play with her at night and stuff like that. That maybe this whatever it is living on my cat. I don't know. But giving my cat a shampoo will probably be the last resort. I think she'd probably be okay. If I gave my cat a bath, my cat would probably be okay. I use these on my cat because my cat is so fat. She can't get behind herself to give herself cleans and stuff. So I have these little disinfectant wipes. I live behind a fire station, everybody. So every once in a while on my live shows, you are going to hear the fire trucks and stuff. And if you see me stop and close my eyes, I'm just sending good cheer to them, hoping that everybody's going to be okay, right? I hope everything's going to be okay, and it's a false alarm, right? But yeah, I love my cat. I will give her a bath if I get another bite. But as it is, yeah, I'm just going to carry on, keep on dusting. And at the same time, I'm getting things I'm getting things done around the house. So that makes me feel good. But I thought it was really interesting how the Explorer has been going, like it lasted almost 60 years longer than what they thought it would last out in space, right? And it's still sending great information back. So I thought that was pretty good. Let's see what else is going on here in the comments. I just said my notifications all get divvied out to me at 8 o'clock, so I'm just trying to get them all out of the way. There we go. Oh, Andrew. Well, I'm glad that you're starting to heal a little bit, but slow, eh? It's a slow recuperating now. And I guess you have been off work. Are you getting any kind of assistance from the government or anything? Are they helping you with the lost wage? Andrew, I would hope so. I hope you're not going to be stuck, right? Using savings and stuff to try and manage to get by this time while you're trying to get over your staph infection. I can't believe that happened to you. And then it happened to Nancy like almost exactly a year before it happened to you. And I seen pictures. She sent me pictures, and oh my goodness, what an experience. That must have been so scary. It must have been so scary. Well, I hope so. Yeah, I only got that. Oh, and I got my laptop for $40. So I was pretty excited about that. I've never had a laptop before. And like I said, I'm going to just have to have a little bit of time to play with it. It won't be tonight, because tonight I want to finish the few things that I had planned and in my head to keep this place clean, right? And I'm getting another donation bag. I got to thin out a little bit more. I've got to try not to make a big mess, because I don't have a lot of time for housework and stuff, right? Because I get up in the morning, my quick morning routine, do my live, go to work, come home, take my lessons in. And if I'm lucky, I have an hour for myself to do some reading, right? I've been actually reading a little bit lately. And whether it's taking in lessons or if I'm reading something like a story. Right now, this is the book that I'm reading right now. This is the sequel to Mammoth Hunters. This is called The Shelters of Stone. It's by Jean Auel. And it's from the Earth Children series. And it's really, the Clan of the Cave Bear series, but Earth's Children, right? So the Shelter Stone. And this is the last book, I think, of this series so far. There might be a new one, because I think this one came out in 2006. But yeah, this woman who writes these books, she actually has friends who are anthropologists, and they've been studying in Europe those big overhanging caves where they found the Neanderthals. And they found them underneath modern man. Like, the caves have always been used as dwellings for clans and stuff. And she did research, and she got some really great help with this. And this really interesting. And it's surprising, because I started reading this series probably maybe the early 90s. Maybe I started reading these series of books. And I really enjoyed them, not realizing they're all about evolution. They truly are. And then to think that, my favorite movie of all time, Ice Age, yes, it's a cartoon. One of Cindy's favorite movies of all time is a cartoon. I love the Ice Age series. I think they're absolutely just the most amazing stories. And at the same time, that series is all about evolution, right? And all tied up with my interest in anthropology too, right? And history like that. So yeah, I've been really enjoying this book, and I'm not too far into it, but I'm not in a rush too. So if I can get a couple of chapters done every night, I don't care how long that it takes, right? really strange experience yesterday. I got this name of this gentleman here. Yeah, he showed up in the store that I work in, and we started a conversation. I'm a big talker, right? I have different interests and stuff. And he actually turned out to be a university professor for the University of Manitoba, and he was head of anthropology and geology departments or something. He's a big rockhound fanatic. And I says, rockhound fanatic? I love rockhounds. And I just think you were just having a nice conversation and stuff. I says, oh, I love rockhounding. I'm always picking up pebbles and stuff like that. And I'm just talking like that. And it says, oh, and this summer I want to get up to Thunder Bay and I want to go hunting for amethyst. He says, oh, yeah, I was up there last year. Oh, it was so much fun. I went, holy God, this guy's got so much interest in me and stuff, or same interest as I do. And he says, give me your email and your tag name. He says, I'll give you a call. He says, I got the permits for the floodway because they discovered crystals there, some really rare crystals, but only this certain rockhound group has the rights to dig it because they're doing construction down there. It's kind of dangerous being the floodway, which is, controls the flood of water in the rivers to control the flooding here in the city and stuff, right? So I was really excited about meeting him and stuff. So he gave me his name and everything. He says, just Google me. You'll find my site. I'm absolutely everywhere. So I didn't tell him about my social media or anything like that. I just talked about my interest in history. Oh, he says, yeah, I'm an anthropology professor at the University of Manitoba. I'm like, oh, is that ever neat? I got all excited. And I think it was probably, I know what it was. An alligator head, a real alligator head came into the store as a donation. And it was really funky. So I put a couple of dollar tag on it and I put it up on the shelf. And because he's obviously an anthropologist and he loved all this stuff, that he actually grabbed it and he was all excited about this real alligator head. And he pointed out the teeth and says, oh, look at the teeth are missing and that stuff. And I says, yeah, but look you can see the new teeth growing in. They were partially coming in. And he says, oh, yeah. And we started talking that way and we started our conversation that way. But it was absolutely unbelievable to meet somebody who had a lot of the same interests in history and rockhounding and crystals. And what a neat man. So he gave me his name. And when I came home last night, I just kind of threw the paper on the desk. And then I got up this morning and says, well, I might as well, least I can do is go subscribe to his channel. Because he did say, invite me, right? Because if the opportunity for me to go digging crystal happens to arise, I'm going to be all over that. It's not something I'm going to miss. Oh, and on top of that, we talked about Tutankhamun's exhibit because I went to Seattle in 1977 to see Tutankhamun's exhibit, right? They came to Seattle. And he actually saw the same exhibit the same year, but he saw it here in Winnipeg. So we had that in common too. Really kind of interesting. And he was about my age. The gentleman was about my age. And usually men my age don't turn my crank, right? Because I think I'm ageless. And because I don't know, maybe because my husband was 10 years younger, maybe because a lot of my friends were a lot younger than me and stuff. I just kind of eliminate myself off the market, right? By having standards and having interests in the younger guys and stuff. But, it is what it is. But he seemed really nice. And I thought, well, the very least that you could do, Cindy, is apply to his YouTube channel and subscribe to his YouTube channel. So that's exactly what I did. He says, oh, you can find me everywhere. It's just Google my name and I'll come up everywhere. And I Googled his name. And it kind of sort of came up with the crystal pictures, like the images, but I guess because he enjoys watching. Gold mining too. We were talking about gold mining. He actually sold a sample for over $100,000. So I take it he's probably pretty rich too, right? But yeah, we had a great conversation. So I Googled him and his pictures came up and I had a very hard time finding him. And when I did find him, it didn't look like he was adding any permissions for anybody to subscribe to him or anything. You got no information. Like I couldn't find his interest. I found some comments, and he likes to get into these deep conversations on other people's channels and stuff. So I read some of those. And then on top of that, you guys, he's very spiritual. This guy is very, very, very way beyond me spiritual. Like, right? Like really going off, making it a big part. With me, I like that spiritual. I like that religious aspect of what I'm doing. I do. I feel that pull in that magical kind of understanding. I feel that strongly. But at the same time, I don't delve on it. I don't make it a priority. It is a priority, but I don't make it my life. I don't make it my life, right? Because I do believe that this is all evolution. I make evolution the priority. But I know that, these religious ideas and these spiritual ideas, they're all tied into evolution. They can't help it because it's part of our belief, right? In order for us to move forward, we have to have things that we believe in. And that's what makes it so you want to keep going. Otherwise, when things get really, really bad, you just might give up if you don't have anything to believe in. Cindy's yapping away. Let her have a drink. Let's see what you guys are yapping about here. I'm coming down. Wow, I missed a lot. You guys are just going, oh, Kathy's here too. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Kathy. It's nice to see you, dear. Well, not to see you, but to see that you're here. Yeah, I'm happy to have you here, as I always am. Right? That was one part of my house cleaning. Like I was going crazy with the house cleaning today, and I did a really good job. Hopefully it can stay like this for a couple of weeks, that it stays nice like this. That if I could just get by with just giving the bathroom a clean, every week, and washing the dishes, keeping up on the dishes, that would make me very, very happy, right? Because that would give me more time to do things. I would really, really like to go for a bike ride. I think even though my live show is going to end a little bit later tonight, I think it might be nice for me just to go for, I'll go for a bike ride tonight. I think that's a good idea. Get outside, get some fresh air, and do a little contemplating, figure out what the next move is. I knew today was going to be totally 100% dedicated to making sure that my apartment was good to go. I love my flower. It's thriving, you guys. But the thing is, if it's attracting flies, just check. It's so healthy. I might have to transplant it. I think I might have to. I don't kill things. I just don't, right? So I think what I'm going to do is my sister's got some planting soil because I know she just replanted whatever plants. I'm just going to get a planter from work, and I'm going to transplant. And we'll let this plant just go to town. If I see any flies, it will have to go. I don't want to have flies in my apartment. And I certainly, again, don't want to be getting bit. I know I'm making a big deal about it only because I don't know what the bite is from, right? Like if I could see something, if I could just spot something, I don't care, anything moving, but there's absolutely nothing. And the thing is, I sweep everything into a pile just so that I could look at the pile, just so that I could see if there's anything moving in the pile. Absolutely nothing. So I must be getting this outside, or maybe because these things are happening now because of the vaccine that I got. Maybe, I don't know if that was part of the symptomatic things, having a little bit of a hive kind of thing going on, because I got a little bit of on my leg too, right? So not a big concern, everybody. I'm not worried about it at all, right? These bugs need dinner. They're happy to have a munch on me, but I'm very pleased. Everything is clean. and I can feel good that there's nothing going on with my apartment. I got to put my phone down here because I keep looking at my phone like I'm doing an Instagram live, because I sit here too, and I have my camera sitting on my stand here when I do my Instagrams, right? So it's the same saying, if I set my phone in the same spot, then I keep looking at that instead of looking at my webcam. And this will be good too, because now that I have, right? Because now that I have this laptop here, when I go live, as soon as I got this figured out, I'll have it maybe figured out by next Wednesday, that maybe we can take this to a different, because the only reason I'm back at my desk right now, because remember we were doing different spots in my apartment to do my lives, that, I don't like to see my kitchen counter showing from this part. I try and cut the picture so it just ends right here at the lamp, right? But you can see a little bit. You can see my HP sauce right there. That's my who else out there loves HP sauce? I love HP sauce with my scrambled eggs and sausages. I need to buy some sausages, I think. I'm craving sausages. I'm actually craving eggs. I bought a great big 18 pack of eggs. So I'm going to try and lose another 10 pounds, I think, and then just have a different play where I play, that 10 pounds that I play with. I'm going to drop it by 5 pounds, but in order to do that, I have to drop 10 pounds in order to be in that range, right? So I'll be working next week on losing weight, and that's going to feel good too, because I won't make a big mess in my house with cooking and stuff. So that will be handy dandy for me too. Maybe I'll just live on coffee next week. Yeah. Cut back on that spending, Cindy. Yeah. I don't know. I enjoy I tried this payday, I Cindy, go get everything you need and see how much money's left over. And I'm looking at my funds in my account and I'm going, this isn't going to work. I'm going to end up spending absolutely everything, right? So I will have to dip into my funds to pay the money that I was saving to buy my vehicle. I'm going to have to dip into it this month. Having that week off of work kind of hurt a little bit. And then, to have that little bit of stress. And the way I de-stress is I eat. I like to have nice things, right? And I was also thinking what would be a good way for me to stay on a diet. And I don't need to diet, but I would like to have a nice, healthy eating routine, right? My dad had a good one. He was a meat and potatoes kind of guy, but, he always made sure that there was one nice big meal every day. One nice big meal. That was usually dinner, right? He'd come home for dinner. And there would always be a dessert, right? And then every other meal, whether we ate or not, it wasn't a big deal, but we always had a nice dinner and a dessert every night. And I was thinking, well, could I do something like that? Even if it's just skip the dinner or skip the dishes or something, that I could just pick a really nice meal, right? Because I was actually thinking Morgan Freeman, right? Morgan Freeman, he only eats like once every 3 days. And he was talking about it, and it made a lot of sense to me, right? Because, in the days of caveman days and stuff like that, it's not like everybody sat down and had dinner every day and had breakfast, lunch, dinner, right? Bedtime snack. These are modern routines and modern habits, right? These are not something that have been going on for hundreds or thousands of years. This is just all new. But Morgan Freeman says that he only eats. He's an actor. He's if you don't know who Morgan Freeman is, really, really smart man. And I think he's still alive. He's older. He's an older gentleman, very smart, very wise, right? And he was saying that he only eats once every 3 days or so, because in the old days, I was cleaning today, still lots of dust and stuff in here. I could see it falling in the air still. I went to town in here, and I still have lots of dusting to do, but it's getting done, and I'm going to feel good tonight. If I have time, I got my hair color. I'm going to do my hair tonight and have a nice shower. My bed, I got new sheets and pillowcases. My bed is all ready to go. air conditioner has been on all day. I just turned it off now for the live show. I'm going to have a really good sleeping. Past few nights, I've been sleeping really, really well, not getting up at night because I have had the fan on. And I like the noise. I like the noise of I like the noise of the fan. I like the noise of the air conditioner, and it helps with my hypervigilance. I do, right? Uh, because I hear little things, right? I hear little things, and it will keep me up, or I'll get up to see what it is, right? Even the traffic outside I can find distracting. So if I have noise to drown that out, it's just the whir, right? The buzz of the machinery that's kind of comforting for me, right? It helps me with my hypervigilance. It helps me to stay asleep because I've noticed the past couple of nights that I've had the air conditioner on, it's helped quite a bit. Let me come down here and see the comments. Here we go. Attack on the Titans. Oh, hi, William. I didn't see you pop in. Oh, I didn't know that. I was just Angry Birds was saying comments here. Oh, you're watching TV? I haven't had a TV in years. I don't even miss it. And mind you, my entertainment is, like I said, I do a lot of mindset. I do a lot of mindfulness. I watch a lot of thought leaders, right? My movement forward is probably the most important thing to me, right? And I like to learn off of really, really smart people who are moving in directions that I want to be moving in. And yeah, I like picking up these ideas. It's really neat, to be able to come online and, you can say that it's free, that you're learning for free, but I'm paying for my internet, right? Like I pay a pretty penny to stay online. Between my internet and my phone, I'm paying $200 a month, right? So I'm getting every penny's worth, and I watch a lot of content. And I watch entertainment content, even though I know there is something more to the content of my metal detecting videos that I find so interesting, right? It's really good. Oh, I got Hoover Boys. I haven't watched Hoover Boys yet this week. I totally forgot about this. So right after my live show tonight, I'm going to be watching Hoover Boys. They're a metal detecting channel. They're a bunch of friends and middle-aged gentlemen, and they like to go metal detecting the old farms like in Virginia and stuff. So they actually get some real Civil War relics and stuff. I find it very, very interesting. And I like the mudlarking too, right? I like the mudlarking too, just because I'm a bit of a mudlarker too, right? The bottle digs and stuff that I do when I go against up against the river. And we have the lowest height in the river this year than we have in decades and decades. And they say that pop bottles and old bottles are just coming up, just surfacing in the mud. So I'm looking forward to it drying up a little bit so that I can get onto the bank and get those bottles. Maybe that's what I'll do tomorrow. I have 2 live shows tomorrow morning, my show, and I do a live with English with Parvane. She's one of the ladies, the English teachers in the Middle East, and I've been doing a live show with her for a couple of weeks, and she's such a lovely lady. If any of you guys want to come and join us live, yeah, we do it on her channel. Her name's English with Parvane, and yeah, she's an absolute sweetheart. I'm just trying to get people to try and go on a more individual, hold up to their own values and their own ideas rather than going with the crowd, going with what like there are lots of great governments out there, right? Lots of great governments, a lot of great communities, a lot of great religious denominations that truly, truly care out there. But there are a lot of stinkers out there too. And all it takes is one bad apple, right? One bad apple, one crazy person that, people will follow or people will listen and do their bidding, right? Like, who was that guy? Osama Biden, right? Who did all that crazy stuff, and then we judge the people, from what these dictators, right? Because they have to follow along. Otherwise, they're going to end up in really scary situations themselves, right? So us being in a digital age right here, it's a great opportunity for the people in the Middle East to get their voices out there so people can see that they're good people, that they're right, that yes, some terrible things do happen, and we do terrible things to each other, right? But it's because we don't understand each other. It's because that we're not spending enough time getting to know each other. We're not expressing ourselves properly. We're not expressing a little bit of respect in people's cultures and stuff like this. And when we don't understand, right, we can become defensive. We can become aggressive. Lots of things, right? So it's important in this digital age that we become a little bit more closer, that we could actually get to know each other in a way that, right? Because again, otherwise we're not going to heal from these terrible things that happen in the world. And, there are a lot of people, even in my own life here on Sunday nights, who have gone through some terrible, terrible traumas in their life, right? And it's hard to go through those traumas and not have judgment on people, right? Not to hate, but be able to be strong enough to do some forgiving and to try and move past it and stuff. But when it causes you damage, right? When it causes you to question your own sanity and your own emotional well-being, right? It's really hard not to judge. It's really hard not to want to blame somebody else, right? And whether it's deserving or not deserving, sometimes we just have to be a little bit tolerant. And sometimes people need second chances, right? Sometimes we have to give a little bit, and Cindy being a true believer that it takes all kinds to make the world, right? And sometimes in our failures, we learn more than when we succeed in life, right? And sometimes our failures actually turn into successes, right? And if we go after that vengeance and we go after hold on to these strong ideas, when those opportunities arise that we can make amends, then emotionally we're not capable of doing it because we're holding these grudges. We're holding on to these really sad, despicable kind of memories that kind of hurt us and traumatize us, right? So yeah, it's what I've been thinking a little bit about today. Oh, Nancy, I'm glad you're still kicking around. I know you can't stay. But thank you for popping in and saying hello and spending a little bit of your data and coming in and saying hi to us. I hope things work out for you soon and we get you back on track, Nancy. That would be absolutely amazing if we can get you back on track. Melvin's, I love Melvin. I don't know what, because he's himself. When he comes in, he's himself, but he's also very mindful of others. That's what I really like about Melvin. And I think Melvin's got a pretty good sense of humor. I think he's got a little bit of that dry sense of humor, right? Yeah, that's our Melvin. What's been going on with you in the world there, Melvin? Oh, Sharon's here too. Holy moly, Sharon's here tonight. Sharon, love you, girl. I hope everything's going okay. I know you and all, you've gotten your shots. Have you had a chance to spend some time with your son, some real time in a real visit, Sharon? I would be happy to know about that. A few more weeks and I'll be getting my second shot and we're done. Those numbers are crazy. Our health system here in Manitoba is crashing pretty hard, right? It's crashing pretty hard. And the people out there who truly, truly need some help, people are dying because they can't get their hearts taken care of, or they're having strokes and they're having these serious operations postponed, and it's causing them lots of problems. And the time that we're spending on taking care of the people who have COVID could be better spent on taking care that, you know, people don't die in the process, right? That there's actual doctors that are available to take care of the other needs of people, like our Andrew, like, my goodness, Andrew, right? Like that you even got out of the hospital without catching the coronavirus. I don't want to see any of my people in the hospitals right now. Oh, but in saying that, I say yes. If you have an opportunity, if you have a problem, if you have a surgery that you need to have that has been postponed, right? If you get that opportunity to have it, I encourage you, get on that list, get your operation done, take care of yourself, because who's to say what's going to happen? You know, whether the healthcare system is going to crash totally and there isn't going to be no more healthcare going on, no more services, you can't get into the hospital. If there's an opportunity to get some help now, get some problems in your health resolved now, like, I would say for sure, get it taken care of. Because you know what? Who's to say if we're going to go into a recession? This is going to be like the Dust Bowl. I would like to know everybody's opinion out there right now. I have some smart cookies, some people who are very forward thinking, people who have some good intuition and have probably put some thought into this question themselves. I would love to know, you guys, what you think are going to happen in the next couple of years as an effect of what we've gone through in the past 2 years. Do you think we're going to be going into a serious recession? What do you think the housing market is going to look like? What do you think the emotional well-being and people's recovery from this experience is going to be like? I would love to hear your guys' thoughts right now. I'm reading the comments right now. I would love to know what you guys think about that, right? And then I'll tell you what I think about that. Oh, that's good to know, Andrew, that you're walking again. Don't get on your bike too soon. I hope you don't get on your bike too soon. Yeah, I thought maybe again, like, maybe these little welts and stuff that I have, or could be a symptom of the vaccination that I got. I mean, it's possible. It was on the sheet that it was possible. But you know, I've never had a reaction like that. But then again, I didn't get that reaction that I was worried that I was going to have, right? That, you know, that I was going to get that inflammation again that I had on my feet, right? And I never had any of that. My arm was really sore the next day. I had a little bit of fever. I grumbled and complained a little bit at work, but I got through the day. And then the next day I was totally fine. And then the next day I had little welts and stuff going on, but I think I resolved that. I don't think, you know, it could be even in my own imagination, right? Because my sister's so paranoid about my sister. All of my sisters, none of my sisters like bugs, none of them. Terrified. When I go driving with them, and every once in a while a bee would get into my car when I'm driving, and they would just all be freaking out and screaming and pull over, Cindy, and they'd be jumping out of the car and dusting them, freaking right out like crazy people, right? But it would make me angry because at the same time, they'd be trying to kill the bee, right? And I'd be the one driving, trying to save the bee, trying to get it out of the car window without it dying, because my sisters have decided to swat it with a magazine or something like that, right? I don't like to see things die. I really, really don't, right? I'm not that person. As a little kid living in Vancouver, you know, it could be sunny outside and pouring rain, right? And then it would clear up, and then it would get cloudy, and it would rain, and then sometimes it would just rain, right? And it'd just be totally sunny, and the rain would still be falling. It was kind of neat. That's just because the clouds move so fast, right? But I used to pick up the worms off the sidewalks because they'd come out of the grass so they wouldn't drown, and they go onto the sidewalks. But then the sun would come out right away and dry them out, and they would die. And I'd walk to school, and I'd be picking up worms and slugs and trying to save them by putting them back in the grass and stuff like that. And I was always late for school. I was always late for school when I was saving worms and slugs, right? Everybody thought it was weird, but you know what? Everybody did their own thing. Nobody paid me much mind, so I just did what I wanted, right? And if nobody's watching and nobody's caring, hell, I was going to do what I want. I wasn't hurting anybody, and I was actually saving those slugs and those worms, right? Yeah, I love fan noise. I love the whir of the fan, right? It helps. It's very calming. It's very calming. And I tell people all the time, if you're not a good sleeper, even in the winter time, I have a fan blowing in my face, right? And it's that noise, it's that fresh air, that little bit of breeze that makes me feel like I'm outside, right? And I find it very comforting, very calming. And I sleep very, very well, right? It's hard when it's really cold, right? Really cold. But in the wintertime, you turn the heat on a little bit and still stick your fan on, and it's still really nice, right? It's still really nice to have a fan when we're sleeping. Yeah, I hope you're better really fast, Andrew. I hope you're better real fast, And it was, I guess, hopefully I'm thinking that you did some reflection on all of that, right? To in that whole thing, that whole experience of the staph infection. Because, see, God truly wanted you to stay alive, right? Because it made it to your heart. That staph infection made it to your heart. You could have easily had your life cut off on you in that experience, Andrew. Like, you're probably doing a lot of reflecting right now on your life, right? And to me, I'm thinking, because I remember what you were saying about not resuscitating, right? Not resuscitating. I remember you saying in the comments one time about that, Andrew, and I was wondering if this experience might have changed your mind on those ideas that make you want to fight for every last breath. I would wish that Andrew would have that drive in him to just keep going no matter what, right? Yeah, do whatever you can. Because I say, if I hit the ground, you guys, you do whatever you can to bring me back. If you bring me back and I'm just a vegetable, right? Bring me back anyway. Bring me back anyway. I'll find a way to shine, right? I'll find a way to shine. Yeah, I love life. I love the challenges. I love the whole adventure of life. I think this is so much fun. I think even the struggle, and I think no matter what I did and no matter what the situation, even if I had lots and lots of money and the dream job and the dream husband, right? The dream life, that I still would find some way to make myself struggle. Struggle is a good feeling. It shows progress, right? It shows you're striving for something better, because if it's always easy, 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 that's saying there's no movement going on, doesn't it? It just says there's absolutely no movement going on. Oh, so you have been doing some contemplation, Andrew. I think that's amazing, because I know you're a deep thinker, Andrew. I know you're a deep thinker. And the driver's window quit, Melvin, on your beautiful new truck. What's up with that? What do you mean you don't own that truck? You didn't keep that truck? Or that's your old truck? I don't understand, Melvin. So, you traded in your truck? Is that what you're saying for the new vehicle? That you don't, or maybe he's talking about maybe that he's leasing it or something? Oh, excellent. Well, I know because you were struggling. You were holding back on that vaccine. I know, Andrew, that you were probably trusting in God in your health. And I don't think you would have had that vaccination on your own, in truth, Andrew. I don't think you would have. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong in that. But I think, Andrew, that you're very stubborn in some ways, and like you have your own ideas about movement forward, right? And I had my vaccine, and I would wish everybody to take their vaccine, but that's everybody's choice whether or not to have that, because I believe in cause and effect. And I think, that purposely these dark things kind of come into our lives to kind of mess with our evolution, to kind of mess with us moving forward. And really, cause and effect, having somebody die of coronavirus because we touched something dirty and then we shook their hands, or we touched something that just before we touched something just before somebody else touched something, and we ended up passing on that virus, and maybe they died. And then I think, oh well, but maybe that person was the person who was discovered the cure for cancer, or right, was an important person in our evolution that was going to save the world somehow. So I'm a true believer in cause and effect. And in those people that are not choosing to have the vaccine, I worry for them. Not because maybe they can fight the virus, maybe they won't die, chances are they won't, but somebody might pass that virus on, might die, and then that would be on them, right? Because they had the opportunity to have the virus. So I'm going to have to be honest, Andrew. I'm very pleased to hear that you are being forced. I'm sorry, Andrew. I'm sorry, dear. I am very pleased to hear that Andrew is being forced to have the vaccine. Congratulations, dear. Congratulations. Right? But like I said, I probably think that you might not have had the vaccine unless you were forced into it. So I'm glad that God found some way to make sure that you did get your vaccine. Ha! I was right, Andrew. I was right. I see we're getting to know each other pretty good. But I'm very pleased. I know you're not probably happy about being forced into doing something, but I'm very pleased. And I'm going to say congratulations. Congratulations, Andrew, on getting your coronavirus. I know you wouldn't have gotten it, right? And I'm so pleased that you stuck with your job. I'm so pleased, right? Because I know it's not your dream job. I know it's not your dream job. And you're thinking about the roof over your head right now, and you're doing what you have to keep moving forward. And just think, right, that you're an asset, right? You're the cream of the crop. And when people are out there struggling for jobs, struggling and competing for positions out there to keep a roof over their head or to keep milk on their kids' cereal, that you still have a job, right? I'm very happy. I'm very happy. I'm very happy for you. And once you have your vaccination, Andrew, right, and it's all over and done with, and you see, okay, maybe it wasn't a big deal, that maybe the next time when something bigger happens, right, and the government says you need to do this, right, you need to do this, that maybe you'll be a little bit more open to be trusting that it would be okay to follow somebody else's idea because it worked out the last time. Yeah. Oh, you're sweet, Andrew. You're sweet. I know you're not happy about it, dear. But I called you right. I called you right on that. I called you right on that. And I just think it's for your own good, right? And just think of it, right? That God works in mysterious ways, right? All paths lead to heaven. Is that what that saying is? All paths lead to God, right? So maybe this was God's doing. And I know you'll be gracious about it. I know you'll be gracious, right? Maybe you'll grumble a little bit. Maybe you'll grumble a little bit about having to do it. But you know what? At least it's done, right? At least it's done. Oh, I see. I see, Melvin. A 2022, you're getting another new truck. Holy moly. Melvin, a new truck. How lovely. You're getting the same one? Are you still going to get another Ford? Are you going another Ford, or are you going to pick up something different? Maybe you'll pick up the Rubicon, right? You'll have to send me a picture. Whatever vehicle. You should. Melvin, you should email me. Get a hold of me, Melvin. I would love to have conversations with you offline, right? I would love to have conversations with you offline. Yeah, you should email me. Get a hold of me through my YouTube channel. And once I've got you, then yeah, because I do. I have conversations with Owen and Andrew and Kathy and Sharon. I haven't talked to Sharon in a little while. When me and Sharon, we write letters to each other every once in a while, but they are long, long, long. Wow, Sharon is a writer. Her letters are like novels. I love getting Sharon's letters and emails and that she sends me, but they're very interesting, but they're beautifully written too, right? Andrew's too, beautifully written. But if you get an opportunity to read Sharon's writing, oh, it's so gorgeous, right? it's almost like dancing the way she uses the words when she writes. It's really quite pretty, right? And I always feel guilty because she'll send me 2 pages, right, of email, and then I'll send her a few. I send her a page or so, but it's really hard. You are a wordy girl, but a beautiful, and I still have your book, Sharon, that you gave me, right? One of the things that I kept when I moved here. And maybe I should take it to work as a donation and pass that on to somebody else and see who in Winnipeg would be interested in your work. Wouldn't that be interesting that your work does the circuit here in Winnipeg? I picked up 2 books here just the other day. I don't know where I put them. But they were 2 Pippi Longstocking books. I found them at the store, 2 Pippi Longstocking books. So I bought them both. And one of the resellers said, "Oh, Cindy, you can get $20 each for those." I grabbed them. I didn't care how much they were. I think I only paid 50 cents each or something like that. But because I was a kid and I grew up on Pippi Longstockings. And then recently when I went in to check out a Pippi Longstocking, oh boy, did I have a physical experience just from that memory of watching that television. I got all dizzy and it was an experience. But the music triggered something in me from my childhood of watching that show. Something triggered me, and I think I had to take a nap or something after that. But it was an experience. But at the same time, it also triggered a memory that I totally forgot. But Pippi Longstockings wasn't even in English; it was in subtitles. When she talked, the words didn't even go together. It was some show that was in like in Belgium or something like that, or Denmark. And yeah, it was my favorite show growing up. I had a lot of favorite shows, but yeah, those shows were actually my companions. They were my mentors. I look at a lot of my life right now, and it's a reflection of a lot of those shows that I grew up on, right? Yeah. I used to disappear. I didn't spend a lot of time at home because, my mother my mother was there, right? And if I was there at the same time, it was hard for her not to direct her attention on me when things bothered her, right? So I would try to stay out of her way. And she didn't care if I came home at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. She didn't care as long as I wasn't home. But the moment I was home, I was expected to go straight to my room. She didn't want to see me. She didn't want to hear me. She didn't even want to know I existed, right? Unless she was in a bad mood. Then she was looking for me, right? The beachcombers, Melvin. I love the beachcombers. My dad, Horseshoe Bay, they used to take the beachcombers on in Horseshoe Bay, and it was one of my dad's favorite places to go fishing. He'd wake us up, and it was about a 2-hour drive from Vancouver up into Horseshoe Bay, right? We had to go through Squamish, I think, and take the ferry over or something. But we used to just go to the ferry docks, and we used to rent a boat, like just a little motor boat, and all of us, the whole family, minus my mom. My mother never did those excursions, but my dad used to take any of the kids that would want to go. And of course, Cindy was madly in love with her dad, right? So of course I was on all those adventures, and he'd wake us up at 2:00 in the morning when it was pitch black outside, and we'd get dressed and we'd jump into the car, and we'd drive up there, rent our little boat, right? And get in there. And because he always said it was important for us to be on the lake before the sun came up, right? And we'd go fishing. My dad loved fishing. He loved to do those adventures with us. And yes, I remember the beachcombers. And we, like I said, we used to do Horseshoe Bay. They used to do it was Pelican Cove or something. I couldn't remember. It was some kind of cove that they did those moves. Oh, the Borrowers. I remember the Borrowers books. I was Nancy Drew and Hardy Boys. And I'm grateful that I got into those books because they made me curious, right? They helped me to learn how to solve mysteries, to resolve problems, right? Because that's what those books were all about, mysteries, right? And I'm surprised I never carried on with those mystery books. As I got older, I turned more into the sagas. I really loved sagas growing up. And then once the digital age hit, I came directly online and I gave up books completely. And in fact, this might be my second or third book that I have probably read in over 10 years, right? So over 10 years. And I'm very happy to have this book. This is a really good one. And this is right on in line in what I believe in too, because it is dealing with evolution, right? It's dealing with the evolution. This is all about the Neanderthals and modern man, how their interactions in their clans and the crossbreeding and the story of the evolution, right? Because Neanderthal did die out. Technically not technically it didn't, they truly didn't die out because we do have Neanderthal in us. The Africans don't have Neanderthal, but I don't think the Neanderthals traveled that far south, and modern man came out of Africa, but they did interbreed with the Neanderthals, and we do have Neanderthal DNA. So I thought that was pretty interesting. 60 years old, Andrew? I'll be 60 in October, so a few more months. You're only a few months older than I am, Andrew. And I love Dark Shadows too, Sharon. I love Dark Shadows. Yeah, I started school a little bit later. I actually was held back in the second grade, I think, because the first grade they put me in a special program. I had already learned to read, but because they put me in a special class, they were trying to do a trial on a new way of learning to read and spell and stuff, and they did it by the sound. So we didn't have A, B, C, D, E, F, G. We had Abbas, right? The way the letters sounded was how the alphabet was read out, right? And it really messed with my schooling, and I ended up failing grade 2 in school. So I think I was maybe 7 or 8 years old when I was in grade 2, and I didn't go to kindergarten. So I didn't start school until I was 6 years old, 7. So I must have been 8 years old when I failed grade 2. And yeah, that put me behind, because I know I was still 18 when I graduated high school, but because my birthday was so late in the year that I would have had to been 19 when I graduated high school. Yeah, lots of things messed with me going through school system and stuff. I didn't do well in school, but I'm more than making up right now. And that was another topic I was thinking about this week too, about how we should have mindset in the school system. They call it an addictions module, right? And it's the program, it's the same module that the opportunities for employment, their mentorship program that they put me through, it was based on that addictions module. And I don't know why they call it an addictions module, because obviously it helps people overcome their addictions, but they could name it something else. I know it is mindset. I know it is mindset. It's clearly, when I went through the program, I recognized it as mindset, but they called it an addictions module. Works for them, but it belongs in school, right? It belongs in school. Every child should be able to have these programs in school. I wish I had somebody that I could turn to. I wish my parents could have been, my mother especially, that she could have been accountable to what she was doing to me, right? I never said anything. I mean, there was a couple of times that I did talk to school counselors and stuff, but I paid for that, because the teachers or the counselors would call my mom and she would be absolutely furious, and it would make the situation even worse. And I know the counselors and the teachers were meaning well, but yeah, my parents weren't having any meddling with the way they were parenting at all. And they did not want me discussing the family issues with the teachers and other parents and stuff like that. And every time I did, and I tried, it caused lots of problems, right? It caused me to get into an even worse situation than the one that I was in, right? So I thought, if this module was placed in the schools, it would be very helpful, because what it would do is it would make the parents accountable, because the parents would know that this program was in the school. Because if I had known that I was dealing with my limiting beliefs, if I could work on my positivity and my belief in myself and feeling like I was worthy and understanding catastrophizing and dominoing and self sabotaging. If I had understood these in school, right, my parents would have, right, I would have, if I had known and had those capabilities and those beliefs in myself, I don't think I would have suffered the way that I did. It would have done done more good for me, and I would have been a totally different person. I probably would have woken up in my 20s, and it probably would have built up some compassion, a little bit of understanding, which I was lacking in, because I didn't understand why people were treating me the way that they were. I didn't understand, being a spectator and forcing myself to kind of look at the situation and try to understand it. None of it made sense to me. Because I could clearly see that it was messed up, that people were messed up in the way they were thinking and the way they were treating people and it wasn't just the way they were treating me, it was treating others. And I would see this and I would like, what are you doing? It doesn't make sense, right? And I would truly see it. And sometimes I would call them on it, but quite often I wouldn't, because my dad, again, turn the other cheek, Cindy. Somebody says something or does something that you don't like, that goes against your grain or upsets you or makes you angry or makes you scared or frightened, like, just turn your other cheek and just ignore it like it's not happening. And lots of times I would practice that, right? Lots of times I would practice that. And it was hard. It was hard. So I think if these programs were in the schools, it would do a lot of good. It would probably be the best move that the school system could have done to make it be an experience that would actually move the children forward. Parents are going to struggle parenting, right? And again, nobody likes to be criticized, and especially a parent doesn't need to be criticized about the way they bring up their children. And people have strong ideas about how they bring up their children. But if they know there are certain rules and that the kids are going to be made to understand, right? And they're going to know that it's okay to talk to people, right? And about what's going on. And even if the parents don't understand what they're doing is wrong, the kids are going to understand that it wasn't their fault. What they're going through is not their fault. that that they're dealing with somebody who has problems that themselves, and that in knowing that, maybe we could understand a little bit and be a little bit more compassionate towards each other, right? Oh yeah, Jaws. Yeah, that was very impactful on me. There were a few movies that were very impactful on me. I thought Earthquake was crazy. I thought Towering Inferno impacted me lots. Again, I don't like living in the high rises and stuff because of that movie, Towering Inferno, right? Right, if this building crashes, what if some idiot burns their apartment and the whole place goes up into flame? Like, how do I get home and save my cat? I'm thinking, right? I don't care about any of my possessions. They could all go. They could all go as long as, nothing happens to my cat, right? I love my cat. She brings me so much joy, my cat, right? Oh, one of my followers has just found a piece of earthenware for me. He wants to know if I want it. He knows I collect earthenware, right? So I'm building relationships at work, networking a little bit. But again, if I find something interesting, I have his email and I'll just send him an email, say, come look at this. I got something interesting for you, right? Happy birthday, Sharon. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Sharon. Yeah, everybody kind of keeps things secret because they know Cindy's going to make a big deal about it. And I'm going to remember next year, guys. I wrote it down. When you guys said it was your birthday, I wrote it down in one of my books here. I need to get a binder. I got to put all my school books, and I've been doing my notes and stuff. I need to add them to the binder, right? Yeah, and I still have to go through it. I know there's all kinds of magic in all those notes that I make. Yeah. Everybody wishing Owen too. Yeah, Owen's birthday last month too. Yeah, lots of birthdays. My birthday's in the fall. All of my family's birthdays in the summer. I'm the only one in the fall. But everybody, it's after 9. I've been yapping for an hour and a half. I don't think I have stopped. I don't think I have stopped yapping since I've come on. It's just flowed tonight. Yeah, lots of different topics. But yeah, I'm serious. I really think that this program that I went through would do good for a lot of the kids out there if they could get that into the school system. Otherwise, the kids are going to be at home doing their schoolwork and stuff, sitting at their desk in their bedrooms, eating and munching out and getting, right? Obesity is huge right now. But can you imagine if these kids get home and they're comfortable enough to have all their meals at their desk and their snacks at their desk? And it's just like the people going back to the work and doing their work at home, right? They're at home and they're doing their work and sitting at their desk and having their munchies and their cups of coffee and stuff, and just gaining weight. Just like that movie Wall-E, right? That cartoon. Did any of you guys see that movie Wall-E? I think it was a Pixel movie. I really loved the animated movies. Oh, interesting. How old do you think that sign is on that building, Andrew? How old do you think that sign is? Got to be 100 years old, I'm assuming. Yeah, Paris has been doing research in Paris because they have a lot of ghost signs too in Paris, and they've been trying to find ways to stabilize the advertising on the side of the building. But the problem is with that is because the businesses would change over and they would paint over the old sign and paint on a new one. So if they seal up those old advertising, we'll never know what the advertising is underneath those. That's the thing with them peeling off and slowly fading out. We get to see all the advertising underneath those signs. Yeah, I think this bug bite must have happened at work, or it happened outside when I was going for a walk. It is mosquito season and stuff. It is the time for the bugs and stuff. And and again, I have this flower plant here, and I haven't seen any mealy mites flying around or anything, or the sugar flies flying around, but it's quite possible that is, because I have been during my life just scratching, right? Like I got one on my finger. I got one. See, and they disappeared. There's one right here. There's one right here. And one on my thumb. There's one on my thumb right here. Yeah, so I don't know what it is, but like I said, it's not coming from my apartment. Whatever it is, it's not happening in my apartment. So I'm grateful for that. Everything's going okay that way. Well, you guys, I think that's going to be my live show tonight. Until next Sunday, I think I'm going to go for a bike ride tonight. The sun is just starting to go down now, but it's warm outside tonight. I think I'll just put on a little bit of a hoodie and just go for a nice evening walk, come home, have a nice bath, maybe do my hair, color my hair, get the hair out of the way, and then maybe just lay in bed tonight and enjoy my book. I really have been enjoying this book, and it's nice to be reading again, because that's the difference about reading and taking in a video. When you read, you use your imagination. You can imagine the characters, you can imagine the scenery, you can imagine the geology, you can just imagine everything, right? And you don't get that because in a video it's actually served to you. It is what it is, right? So it's an excellent book. I'm happy to be reading again. Okay, everybody, I'm turning on my air conditioner. I'm going to get ready to go for my bike ride, and it'll be nice and cool in here when I get home. Everybody, see you next Wednesday. If you want to get a hold of me, you all know how to get a hold of me here, right? And I chit-chat to all of you guys every once in a while. If you guys want to email me, I'll go check my emails. I'm glad to hear that you've been communicating with Nancy on the side there, Andrew. I hope you guys are continuing with those conversations. And yeah, I hope everybody has a great week. Stay safe. Andrew, I'm very pleased that you got your vaccination. Happy birthday to every single one of you guys. And see you next week. Night, Sharon. Night, Melvin. Night, Angry Birds. Thank you, everybody, for popping into my live. And we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.